said, I'd like to go ahead and officially introduce Mr. Saeed. So Mr. Saeed is a licensed clinical social worker and school counselor. He splits his time between us here at MCCA Academy and Khalil Center, a first of its kind institution devoted to Islamic therapy and counseling. He holds a Master's of Social Work, School Social Work concentration from Governors State University. He previously served as a school social worker at several public schools, both at the elementary and high school levels. Most of his experience has been with adolescents and young adults struggling with addiction, goal-oriented behavior, lack of life satisfaction, career choices, internal conflicts, and much, much more. Mr. Saeed is well known for his self-described quirkiness and willingness to break the mold in order for others to feel comfortable. His engaging, outgoing personality is grounded in a spiritual and holistic approach to life. He loves nature, honing much of his focus towards betterment of mind, body, and soul. Mr. Saeed has an energetic and contagious laugh, and when he enters a room, we are sure smiles will follow shortly. Please welcome Mr. Saeed.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ahmed, for that, for your kind words and your very an introduction that I don't feel deserving of, but I'm grateful for. And thank you all for joining. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. والصلاة والسلام على رسول النبي الكريم. I'm just gonna share. Okay, and we are going to present. All right. Well, thank you so much all for joining. Here today, I am, I know there's much to be done after school timings and during timings and all those kinds of things. So I really am grateful for whoever is able to join or whoever would be watching this in the future. If this is a recording, as Ms. Simon said, my name is Abdul Aziz. I'm the school counselor here at MCC Academy, and I also work as a therapist for Khalil Center. Just to kind of make the things a little bit more real, this is not a fashion statement. This is a necessity. My room is freezing. It is always freezing, and I have to stay here the whole day. So I have to wear wool socks and have some sort of. Today is especially cold, so I have to have a additional blanket. So just like all of you, I am also bound by working from home and everything that comes with that. So I appreciate your patience with me and my informality. Now, I want to keep things relatively simple today. I know our time is short, and for those of you who know me, I'm very much a person who thrives in the in-person. So I know the pandemic has been hard for all of us, but it has been hard for me as well. So I'm going to try and keep things very simple today, as best as I can, as applicable as I can. And the best way to benefit it would be, of course, that you've taken out time, that you're able to set aside time, you have some sort of pen and paper, that you're able to take notes and do some of the exercises that we're going to do today, inshallah. And if you're not able to, for any reason, I completely understand. Just make sure, you take some time out whenever you get a chance in the future to be able to just write down the questions or the exercises that come up or thoughts that come up for yourself. Because I do want this to be an individualized process, and it will only be individualized if we are able to do some of the exercises ourselves, inshallah. So we've been in this pandemic, I'd say since January of last year, give or take, but I think the lockdowns and things getting really bad has been since March. So it's been around 10 months of that, and for many of you, everybody's been affected. I see adolescents, I see adults, from anxieties about the disease, about the illness, to family members passing, to family members being ill, to schools shutting down, to jobs, people losing their jobs, people losing their livelihood, people working from home, people being forced to deal with each other on a day-to-day basis. For the lack of a better word, I can't take it anymore. Like, it's just too much. It has been too much for a lot of people. And I I think I can, if someone doesn't feel that way, then, alhamdulillah, we'll take it. But I know for a lot of us, this is kind of where we're at, that we have been at our wits' end, but we're just kind of pushing through. We're doing the best we can. I know for some people, they've developed a sense of normalcy within this new normal since it's been so long, which is great. At the same time, for a lot of us, we're still kind of scraping by and still trying to make through, get through this whole thing. So I do want to be mindful of this reality, and acknowledge that, since we are talking about COVID-19 here. So as I mentioned, I really just have one goal for today, and it's going to be, as best as I can, make it very simple, which is about how to empower parents to work with their children, right? Most of you have heard of the acronym of KISS. It usually stands for keep it simple, stupid. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to call my parents stupid, so I'm like, keep it simple, superhero and superheroines. All of you have been, I mean, really, like, from your own kids, from keeping things here, from being able to do this and do that. All of those things have been very, very difficult for all of you, really. And it's an understatement to say that, okay, you're just a superhero. Here's a little medal, just like we did to our first responders. I want to acknowledge that, but I also want to say, let's keep it simple, because there's two realities that we face. On one hand, there is an extreme apprehension about parenting in general, but parenting during COVID-19. But there's also the idea of, how do we deal with parenting? Is there a way to do it properly, especially during a pandemic? The first one is real, for sure. It's real in the sense of, it is very difficult. It has been difficult, and it only got more and more challenging and more difficult. On the other hand, when people say things like, oh, I wish there was a book about parenting, I wish there were more resources about parenting. While I agree that maybe we don't know what they are, but there's certainly quite a bit of them out there, and actually some really, really solid ones. And one of the things I'm going to do, inshallah, after the presentation, as something that I'll be doing more of, is, inshallah, I'll be creating a resource for parents where I'll be continuously updating books, articles, resources, and maybe even have a section where it can be shared in the newsletter. But me and, the administration and myself, we're working on that, because I feel like, parents do need to be supported, and we need to do what we can to do that, inshallah. But just to start off, we're going to keep it simple today, and I'm requesting parents to do the same. Now, what does that mean? We're going to start off by playing a little bit of a game. I'd like for you to engage that. I'm going to give you a series of scenarios, and I'd like for you to think about, what's going on. What do you think is happening? And do your best to just, kind of rack your brain a little bit. Think about what's going on. I'm going to give you a series of scenarios. What if a child, it doesn't have to be your child, could be a child, could be any child for that matter. What if a child starts crying and runs to the room, or runs to a corner and puts their head down and just like, "Arr!" What's going on then? Why are they doing that? What if a child screams, "I hate you," and just, chucks like a phone at you or something, toss something in your face? What's going on with that one? Let's take a moment. Think about it. Make a note. If you want, you can share in the chat. I'll be probably not looking at it because I get really distracted. But feel free. You all can participate in that regard. What if a child prefers to stay in their room or online? I just want to stay in, or they just stay in the room. They just come out to eat, and they're just pretty much for most of the day on their phone or on any of their devices. What if a child says they're depressed, anxious, but they're not sure why? What's going on there? Why would they be feeling that way? What if a child seems preoccupied in their thoughts? Like, they just kind of like stuck. You're kind of like, whoa, like, where'd you go? Hello. Kind of check out. What if a child hasn't been turning in homework and doesn't quite answer why when you ask them? Any guesses? Reason for these behaviors? Just to kind of rack your brain a little bit. Think about what you think would be going on here. Take a few moments. I could be wrong, 110%. So take this with a lot of salt. For me, there's only one correct answer to all of them.